Label integrity verified. Reclassification not recommended. User is advised to accept prior classification. I found a folder marked failure in a drawer I never touched. Thought I knew what it would show me. Thought I knew I'd seen enough. But inside was just a heartbeat, barely making it through the night. A younger voice still saying, I can carry it if I try.
Label failure, contents, survival. Discrepancy detected.
You named the wound before I opened it. You told the truth where it could bend. You wrote the ending on the cover, then said I should not check again. Mislabeled, that was not the name. You called it weakness, but it sounded more like pain. Mislabeled, buried in the wires. You called it failure, but the fire was still alive. I found a file named Selfish, locked behind a warning sign. But all it held was empty hands and a body out of time. I found a note called Too Much, with the edges burned in red. But it read like someone begging just to mean what they had said.
Label selfish, contents, depletion. Label too much, contents, unsent signal.
You stripped the room out of the memory. You stripped the weather from the fall. You left the bruise without the impact, then blamed the skin for it all. Mislabeled, that was not the name. You called it weakness, but it sounded more like pain. Mislabeled, buried in the wires. You called it failure, but the fire was still alive. Open grief, it says dramatic. Open fear, it says control. Open tired, it says damaged. Open lonely, it says cold. Open anger, it says danger. Open silence, it says proof. Open memory, it says error, but the pulse keeps bleeding through. Archive, review, may increase distress.
Reclassification not recommended. Acceptor classification.
No, this was not corruption. This was not a crime. This was not the proof that every fracture here was mine. No, this was not deception. This was not a flaw. This was just the part of me that survived what no one saw. Mislabeled, that was not the name. You called it weakness, but it sounded more like pain. Mislabeled, buried in the wires. You called it failure, but the fire was still alive. Mislabeled, I can see it now. You did not change the memory, you only changed the sound. Reclassification. Request denied. these files.